I promised you I'd do a comparison video of two 2023 800MT motorcycles. The guy next to me, Joe, is also a motorcycle enthusiast. He's someone I really admire in Zhengzhou. Used to race cars, now he's a motorcycle fan. Secondly, as you can see on the screen, all theme modifications, including those on his friend's motorcycle, were installed by him personally. Regardless of spotlights, engine packs, or any other miscellaneous parts, he dares to disassemble and reassemble the same gear shift rocker arm himself. He's basically surpassed 99% of theme modders on his car. How much did we actually spend on this car? What are its advantages and disadvantages? I'll talk about that later. Dimmy saw this, so let's talk about the house. And then your equipment, how much did you estimate you spent? Spent $2,500. Love you. Cycling apparel, helmet, cycling boots, and other miscellaneous items. This whole set costs around 2,000 yuan. Add to that the bike gear, which I estimate at 2,500 yuan, and the accessories at another 2,500 yuan. This is our actual conversion. It's probably close to 100,000 yuan. Next, let's talk about the modifications. We'll start from the front and work our way up. We modified the windshield to be taller and wider. The effect is significant. Of course, there's one drawback. A whistling sound starts to appear between 100 and 120 km/h. The windshield lowers by about 1 centimeter and then disappears. We both installed the same windshield, and my opinion is the same as Joe's. What do you think of the radish-shaped side padding? Is it practical or not? Why buy a front side padding? Because I bought a radish-shaped rear padding, but if I don't have a matching front padding, the whole car will look like the back is big and the front is narrow. I only used it once and it's very new. It adds too much drag. When the car reaches 119 km/h, it starts to wobble. Compared to the previous softer side bag, this one is stiffer and stands uprighter when pressed. The larger side bag is more upright, but it's rounder. What brand of spotlights did you install? The Sear All-Fairway MT30s. What's your actual experience like? I remember you're a Fairway fan, right? I've used Fairway before. Because it has a cutoff line, it's larger than those without. Is this set of MT30 enough? It's really not enough. The MT30 is probably the highest-end model in the Fairway Spotlight brand, but the effect is just average, not even as good as the MT10. This is because the width of the fog light below it is too narrow compared to the MT10. As for the 4-bead spotlight on top, I've never driven the G-Pi one, it's purely for decoration. The G-Pi 7-bead spotlight, if used for long-distance highway driving, there's no problem with it, but if you're riding in the city, firstly it's illegal and secondly it won't be able to handle the load. This is a breakthrough front camera equipped with Breakthrough's M12 Pro car infotainment system. How's it? Very easy to use and quite smooth. Have you used it in Thurin? Waterproof? Yes, no problem. The car infotainment system uses Breakthrough, a very good Chinese brand. If you're going to use this car infotainment system, I highly recommend Breakthrough. The price-performance ratio is extremely high. Is the carrot-shaped bracket extension rod any good? Egg-dried bread is very useful, but if you're buying it, whether you buy the Luobo brand or another brand, remember to buy one with a metal base. Once installed, it will basically stay in place and have better stability. Next, let's talk about the upper pump. You've changed your name and your alliance. I've never heard you mention this upper pump before. What's the deal with this upper pump? Anyone who's ridden an 800MP motorcycle should know that the front brake isn't quick enough, but that's because the upper pump's thrust is insufficient. I need a more direct feel. What brand is this? This is the Braber RC-SCC. How is it? Is it easy to use? It's really easy to use. I still recommend it. I haven't replaced it. I don't recommend it. Why? Because netizens will definitely start cursing in the comments section saying I don't need it. But whether it's necessary or not, you'll know after you use it. Yes, yes, yes. How much is it? This is 500. It's easy to try. This is a fuel tank sticker borrowed from SAD. It's pasted on. How is the BM transfer? It's very practical. You must install this because other models don't have it as obvious as Thai's car. The BMT car's side is particularly slippery. After standing up, if you're not wearing cycling gear, you won't be able to control the bike, which increases friction. Honestly, if it weren't for the good looks of my fuel tank cover, I'd still recommend the Daju fuel tank sticker. As you can see, it's already very worn and difficult to clean. If it weren't for the good looks, I'd recommend the same auxiliary fuel tank sticker. When I bought the bike from Daju, I told him that the range was very tight, and the 6-liter auxiliary fuel tank from Muma was aerial concern. What do you think of it? The feeling still isn't enough. Let me tell you, I've been researching this recently and have already treated out 9.5 provinces, and the price is exactly the same. You talk to the boss. We've already replaced the Trojan horse. Boss, listen to this. Look, we are real users. When the video is released, remember to send it to us. There are 2 users who are drunk. This is the inflatable side bag of Radish. Actually, this side bag is quite popular recently. Everyone is referring to Da Joe. This side bag has a story. Da Joe, let me tell you about the side bag. I can tell 4 stories. The first time it went to your store, I just propped up the bike for a moment and it flipped over. There wasn't a single scratch on the bag. That was the first time. The second time was in the snow. It also flipped over in the snow. It patched it up and there were no problems and the bike wasn't damaged. The third time was the same. Then on the right side of the road to Xi'an there was some water and I slipped and hit the guardrail. The bottle looks a bit like a backpack. It's sold separately. This bottle costs over 300 yuan. How is the actual user experience? It's all right. What's it like? When fully loaded, it doesn't significantly affect handling, but it definitely affects top speed. At higher speeds, it still feels a bit rough. The downside is that this bag is very difficult to clean. After a trip, it gets very dirty on the car, and since it's a folded fabric, it's extremely difficult to scrub. After taking it out, the waterproof layer needs to be washed separately. Disassembling it like this every time is quite slow. If I had to point out a flaw in this bag, it's only one thing. It's probably modeled after a BMW, so it's slightly wider than the handlebars. After using it for a while, I can't find any fault with it. It might be a bit heavy, but it's very structured, which I personally love. The biggest drawback is that you're afraid to hang it on because it's not safe. There's a lock here and another lock there. They're all locked. Don't worry about this bag being stolen or anything after I leave the car. Let's move on to the gearshift rocker arm. We both replaced this one. Almost every day someone asks me about it, so we want to share our honest experiences. The gear shift rocker arms we replaced aren't the same model sold in the market. Da Joe bought one and I bought another. Let me share our honest feelings. After receiving it, I first looked at the structure, watched videos, and then disassembled and replaced it myself. If you encounter this problem while driving, first of all, be sure to carefully read the instruction manual. If you are a new driver, be careful not to mess up the GPR gearbox. It's not recommended for beginners to disassemble it. Is it as good as this shop claims or as truly harmless as I think? No, it's not. The problem has been resolved and first and second gear are still shifting. The chance of it shifting to neutral again after 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 is practically non-existent. This is a very real feeling. What Da Joe has shared should resolve everyone's doubts about the gear shift rocker arm. I see your rearview mirror is the original factory model. What do you think of the original factory rearview mirror? The original rearview mirrors loosen after about 3 rides. Once you pick up speed, they loosen completely and snap back when cruising. The Luo Bo rearview mirrors have a bit of resonance. Their stability is good, but above 6,000 RPM, the vibration isn't so bad it makes you unable to see clearly. It's just a kind of whoosh vibration, you understand. I see you haven't changed the car seat. Why haven't you changed it? We actually have a relatively narrow selection. The main one promoted on the market is Buck. You can look it up. What kind of motorcycle does Buck use? Manapopple don't know about Buck. We don't usually need the Buck. Buck is for rally riding like off-roading. For everyday use, it's mainly for wind protection. It's really good at blocking the wind. I've compared it to other Buck bikes. The rear wheel is narrow, which is a factory design, and there's nothing wrong with it. This bike has been ridden for 5979 kilometers. Has the alarm gone off? Now it's starting to make a rattling sound. Your tires and chain are all in stock, completely stock. How does it feel? The tires aren't enough in winter, but they're okay in summer. The chain is 800 MP, which is a common problem. It can loosen, but this one is already tightened. It's not that I didn't have proper insurance. I apply chain oil and chain guard every time I wash the bike. The handlebars don't have risers. How do you feel about your riding posture? How tall are you? I'm 181 cm and weigh 170 kg. You mentioned risers when I first bought this bike, saying you'd need to replace them later and move the risers back. I didn't because it varies from person to person. You seem fine so far. Currently, it feels a bit awkward, but I don't want to change its angle, which is why I haven't replaced it. The handlebar riser module is because sometimes I ride long distances. You know, I've already ridden this bike 15,000 kilometers. As the Joe just mentioned, I want the handlebars to be slightly closer to my chest for increased comfort. The Joe, tell me why you feel you need to change this. The original car cover is too small for this car. On rural dirt roads, you'll flip over on your first turn. This yellow cover is purely for looks and doesn't serve much purpose. I took it off for everyone. You've all been curious about this brick on the front of my car. It's actually a phone holder. I highly recommend installing this phone holder. I drove this phone holder all the way from Yunnan to Zhengzhou, and it didn't damage the camera. However, I still don't recommend using this phone holder for extended periods. Then we both changed to GS80V's guards. Guards are incredibly practical, and I especially recommend the lower bar. You can see these. Sometimes you might scrape against a rock or something while running without them. They protect your feet well, but if you're going over a big rock, it might hit your foot or something. But having a lower bar really makes a big difference. I've personally experienced the running gear issue. As for the chains, well, you all know I replaced them with genuine ones, and so far they're working quite well. The chassis armor was also painted black due to my own personal habits. And this frame, I bought it and painted it myself. It's very rough. The Joe even said I'm a bit rough around the edges. The mudguards are like this. So far, it's driven 15,000 kilometers, and I personally feel it's been working quite well. As for CFMOTO's after-sales service, I always say you have to check this part regularly and make sure it's not loose, because if it's loose, it can easily get caught in the tire, which sounds quite dangerous. But so far, after 15,000 kilometers, I'm quite satisfied and haven't had any problems. What we didn't mention earlier is the millimeter wave radar. I personally feel it's quite good. The sensitivity and textual warning distance don't have much error. Regarding the gear shift rocker arm issue we were discussing, I agree with the Joe's opinion, but I also replaced the water pump and turbocharger. You can see the color